Thank you very much, Laure. Pleasure to be here. Thank you, Berlin. Moments away now from picks and bans for our first best of 3 of the day. And as you heard, big stakes for BDS, Team Heretics. Similarly big stakes, just not as much immediate gratification.
Just hanging on, isn't it?
Yeah, winning keeps you alive for another day to get one step closer to eventually, hopefully, making season finals.
Yeah, and BDS just need that one best of 3 win. I don't think they'll be thinking about it too much, I hope. I think they've got a long path through summer already, and season finals is still quite a few weeks away, so I'm sure they're just focused on every game step by step. But Heretics, it's their last life, you know? It's like they're playing Mario, they got 1 heart left, you know? If they just lose it...
They got... Wait, what?
No, they got 2 hearts left. Yeah,
yeah, they're big Mario. You're mixing metaphors here,
big
bro.
Mario, big Mario.
They're still big Mario.
Yeah, 2 lives left.
If they lose here, they're little Mario, and then they're done. So they got time. Yeah. We'll see. Maybe they find, you know. I'm getting lost in the songs.
No, me
bro.
too.
I was like magic mushrooms.
I was like
Bowser. I was like, where else can we take this? Really?
Mario movie.
Mario movie. Haven't seen it, just know the song because we made Yamato sing it.
We
made Yamato sing a very similar but not the same song. Anyway, it's time for Team Heretics versus BDS. Let's get into Champ Select. Here we are, our first draft of the day. Saw a decent amount of variety yesterday. Does seem to be some pretty big consensus on the power picks of the meta right now. Would not be surprised to see a Vi or a Maokai banned away. Azir as well from Team BDS. Makes a lot of sense when you see just generally what Nuke has been going towards. The big question for me, Mark, is we saw in our first series yesterday and even in the second series, teams developing a lot in this single week. Caught off guard by how great SK was, caught off guard by the diversity of styles that Excel brought to the table in their series, and now we need to see what the growth for BDS and Heretics looks like as we get into this first game.
Definitely is, and I think the champion that I have my eye on is first of all Kai'Sa, and second of all Rumble. I think is just such a powerful pick on this patch. We'll see if either of these top laners go towards it. Of course, picking Rumble into Adam feels quite tough with Olaf, Darius, Garen, all of these melee bruisers being able to somewhat counter it. But there's the early Olaf ban coming out from Heretics. We'll see if they deny more, but there's the Rumble ban against Ebby. So you can see, want to play Olaf into Rumble, take away the Olaf, take away the Rumble. And now I think Kai'Sa is just the easy first pick here for Heretics.
Would make a lot of sense here. Something we've seen Flakked, you know, find success on, even during his time on G2 internationally, had a couple of fantastic Kai'Sa games. BDS debating now what they can go for, what they want to respond. Obviously, easy time now to lock in an AD carry. Kai'Sa's still a flex, has been used as a flex by the side of Heretics, so something that has to be respected. But Tristana, the other big pick, premier mid lane option, also technically a flex pick, but we very often see it going into the hands of mid laners.
I love the Tristana flex. Mid or bot, you can keep it alive. You can pick support on 3, something along those lines. Even, I think Sejuani 1-2 has so many options. You can pick a Renekton on 3, you can pick support on 3, melee champ, you know, you can do whatever you want.
I feel like when you're playing against Adam and you see Sheo lock in Sejuani, you're like, damn it. Like, my life is about to be so much harder.
No, I know, and I feel like when you're blinding Nautilus like that against Sejuani, BDS would love to go Braum into Nautilus. But I think maybe Heretics have that Nautilus as a flex, because I'm a bit concerned with that blind pick Nautilus just instantly coming out, so I'd be a bit wary if I was BDS. And there goes the Renekton denial pick from the Sejuani takeaway. So now it's just a question of what do they want to pick up here. They could pick the Braum, but then they could pick Rakan on 4-5 here, Heretics, and flex Nautilus. So I think matching top's easiest, and it might be an Adam Darius.
And top lane is the big question in this matchup. Ebby versus Adam certainly set to be an explosive matchup. Adam getting his hands on a comfort pick in the form of the Darius. And again, Team BDS have felt like a bit of a shadow of themselves when we compare them to Spring. Ultimately, were able to make it in with, you know, a decent score line to get this far in the season, but need to see if they can replicate that same level of performance. And a big part of why they were so successful in Spring was Adam on these signature champions, whether it was dominating lane or sacrificing his own lane for the sake of the team. Now that we see AD carry bans coming out, no surprise to see Varus taken off the board as well.
This is the thing where scouting comes in, you know, if you're Heretics and you've scouted Nuke's solo queue account, has he been playing Tristana, right? Is this a Tristana mid? They seem to think it is with the Varus ban, you know, Varus ban, Ziggs ban, Kai'Sa has an AP champion as well that you play down there, so if they're banning those away, they must think it's a Nuke mid lane, but I think easily Crownie could play at bot lane with an engaged support, and they can just pick the Cassie or something.
Yeah. See what the option is going to be. I like taking the bars away from a player like Crownie, who's already shown that he's super comfortable on the pick. Did not hesitate to jump onto the AP Varus train once it became popular, and looks like You've spotted it out there, Caedrel. Good call. The Cassio will be banned away, respecting that flex pick, as Ivern, despite being available in the first 3, not a priority for either side. And the Braum, you're on. I mean, I know you do this for a living, but I'm still impressed if this Braum gets locked in.
Yeah, Braum locked in doesn't surprise me. Now, the question is that Nautilus a flex is what I was considering as to why they didn't pick Braum earlier. Varus ban covers off AP bot, Cassio ban covers off the mage mid. We'll see what they blind pick here for Vetheo. Wouldn't be surprised to see. I mean, the Kai'Sa could also go mid for Vetheo as well, you know. That's the awkward thing about this 1-2 of Kai'Sa Nautilus as to whether it is going bot. Rakan here would be amazing if they want to play Nautilus jungle and then counter the Braum. Trundle coming through makes me wonder that it's going to be Nautilus support anyway. They're just going to take the L in the bot matchup itself, but the Trundle will do work against the Sejuani.
Certainly will. Okay, Trundle locked Ziggs.
Ah, that makes sense.
Okay, so is this question?
Double flex.
Double flex.
Yep, I like that a lot. Makes it so if you do play Ziggs Nautilus, for example, yes, you'll lose lane, but you can wave clear. You can also play Kai'Sa Nautilus and take the L, but your Trundle covers off the losing 3v3, and Ziggs just provides a lot of wave clear and range and disengage against the Tristana. What's the last pick here for BDS? Need a AD carry, mid laner. They've taken away the Ziggs. I think maybe BDS wanted the Ziggs, you know? Vayne?
Yes!
What?
I don't know what's happening, and I love it!
So I think what's happening here is we've gone through most of the draft, but the last thing was the Ziggs denial, which I think BDS wanted on 5 for Crownie, so they could have an AP champ, Sejuani, Ziggs, Braum with double AD solo lanes.
So they took away the Renekton Heretics, they took away the Ziggs, and now their option here was like, well, they have 3 melee bruisers, Trundle, Renekton, Nautilus, let's go
Vayne.
Vayne.
Silverbolts, Ginsu's, just stack up damage.
There's the double flex of the Kai'Sa Ziggs. You would think it would be Ziggs mid, but no, it's actually Ziggs bot lane because it's just a tough matchup, isn't it? But they know they've got Braum into Nautilus, so they'll just pick Vayne. You know, winning support matchup, they should be able to free farm. He'll get poked out though. I like the Vayne into the top jungle and the support of Heretics, but against Kai'Sa Ziggs with AP and poke, if Crownie gets hit, he's gonna have to build early lifesteal or make sure he has a Vamp Scepter or something to make sure that he
also
can
Trundle Pillar is a bit of a nightmare. Obviously, there's the dream scenario where you get to knock enemies into their own Trundle Pillar, but...
And Renekton does a lot of damage, and it just feels like oftentimes you pick Vayne into Olaf, Nautilus, Malphite, Sejuani.
The best Vayne games we see are usually very skirmish heavy and like with a lot of champions who lack reliable ways to get on top of the Vayne, but you have a pillar and you have a point-and-click CC on the Renekton. So yeah, you can condemn him, but once he stuns you, you're probably dead.
And I think that'll be a static Shiv Vayne with a minion dematerializer for wave clear, otherwise they're lacking. So it might be double Shiv carries for Team BDS, but really interesting draft. That was a really fun draft to follow through and analyze and look at. A lot of good picks from both sides and denial picks from the coaches, but I think we're almost ready to get into it. This first best of 3, if BDS win, they're through to the season finals. Let's get into it.
And here we are on the Rift. Team Heretics seemingly ready for a level 1. A lot of new picks for us here in the LEC. Vayne rearing her head, Ziggs returning to the bottom lane.
There's double TP on the bot lane. It's been a long time since we've seen that. He used to go like Ezreal with TP and bot.
Yep. Duke gonna go for the ward. Can he get it?
Yeah, he went Dematerializer.
Flakked. Instantly they get the flash out of the Ziggs. That's big.
Mersa does not want to walk up and hook. Maybe he thought there was 5 of them there. 4 members of Team Heretics. They didn't have full vision, but yeah, like I said, Demat on the Vayne for the static Shiv.
Let's, we'll get the runes up in a second. We can go over all of them. But like to see the DMAT coming out. And again, if you don't understand this, if you missed the context yesterday, helps static Shiv clear the wave. That's all there is to it. Just keep shooting the caster minions with it.
Yeah. No flash on Flakked. Sheo could be a bit creative in these early stages. Do 3 bot camps, maybe look for an early bot dive. They have the Braum, so they should be able to get some wave control. Just a bit hard to push on Vayne, isn't it? I feel like a lot of AD carries like Aphelios or Kai'Sa can get waves in quickly when they want to reset or dive, but Vayne takes quite a while.
I mean, historically, we've seen Vayne come out like very far back as an answer to Sivir because she could kill her on a side lane, but the problem with that counter was that, yeah, your wave clear is trash. Solved a lot by static Shiv being so popular in the meta, and as you highlighted, minion DMAT in the back pocket to help that wave clear even further, but still going to be tough as we get into the mid game if they don't have any kind of advantage.
Definitely, and as much as the Vayne pick's exciting, there is a Renekton versus Darius top lane with the Sejuani Trundle, which are both kind of counteracting each other. So both junglers are pathing up towards the top side. Ziggs will be, I expect, pushed in early, and then start to push back on Lost Chapter, and Crownie will free farm. Don't think there'll be too much fighting until level 5-6. Duke jumps onto Vetheo, but Veteo's in a proc the passive. That bone plating helping him out a little bit in those trades. It's just a question of who pulls the trigger on top side first. Of course, Adam no TP. Has that door and shield though. Wants to trade into Ebby and get him on the tower.
Yeah. Keeping in there early on. Darius, of course, just an incredibly frustrating champion to play against. As Ebby gets a few more levels under his belt, might feel a bit more comfortable trading back in the lane. Tabby rush from Adam certainly wouldn't hurt. That extra movement speed so crucial early on, but not going to go for any deeper vision here. Doesn't want to risk anything. Topside focus from both junglers thus far, clearing bots top.
In a competitive game like this as a jungler, it's quite awkward because I've been in this scenario so many times. Top matchup is really volatile. The question is, when should I go top? You know, if I go top after 3 camps and there's nothing to do, and my enemy jungler's free farming and getting a full clear, he's level 4, so now I've lost my window. Yeah. So it's kind of a case of when do you pull the trigger to go top. So Sheo's now gone top expecting Jankos to come up after 5 camps, but actually he's going for all 6. So now he's just kind of hovering, hoping that Jankos will gank. Adam's like fake baiting it a bit, hoping that something happens, but Ebby's playing safe. Needs to make sure he doesn't dash forwards when it comes up.
The pullback, though, he doesn't even have to wait for him to dash forward immediately to stun, but they're not going to overcommit there. Happy to just get the flash out of the Renekton.
And this is the thing, Jankos level 4, Sheo level 3. This is the problem of going top a little bit too early. You got the Renekton flash, is great. And he has a bit of top push to contest his crab, but Jankos has a ward on it, so he can just play slow, so Sheo needs information. And Jankos will go bot side and trade crab, so it doesn't hurt Ebby too much. He has TP, so he won't lose that many minions.
No. Opportunity matching up there, but getting the flash to the top side, we'll have to see if they can punish in that window. Big for BDS as Adam is, of course, not opting to go for the TP, so anything they can do to keep him in control of the lane is big. Labrov, that's just people hitting each other. Not a whole lot going to happen there. Ultimately, a bit of aggression in the mid lane coming in from Nuke, leveraging the range and push advantage that you'd expect a Tristana to have at this stage of the game. Explosive shot, as well as the range, just so powerful for pushing this wave in.
TP's galore. Here comes Vetheo. He'll be back. Won't miss anything either. He's gone the dematerializer too. And Jankos is going to base with a Sheen coming towards that Sunder. Heavy. Actually didn't take a base yet, so he's still half HP. Needs to be very careful. Darius can push in this wave quickly despite it pushing into him. If they want to set up a dive, or just wait for Ebby. I mean, how patient does Sheo want to be? You know, you could stand in that bush for another 30 seconds and wait for the Renekton to base and TP back and walk up, and then you'll get a kill, but is it worth sitting there for... Yeah, it is.
I just want to say that we have seen across the series both days now, top laners are getting more jungle attention, they're more active.
Oh, he's invested here. Jankos has a Sheen, so Sheo will spot Jankos in a second here. Do they fight it is the question, BDS. Is Adam close to level 5?
If Adam gets that passive stacked without getting below 50%, he is going to smash through this fight. But Jankos coming in.
Yeah.
Throw down a cheeky pillar. No, won't even use it. Obviously pretty major cooldown. Happy to just help Ebby usher that wave in. Instant healing reduction buy coming out from Ebby for the lane phase. Makes a ton of sense here. And overall, pretty quiet game. A lot of posturing on the top side of the map, but ultimately only that flash burn. The only really big, significant trade we've seen thus far.
I think they wanted Adam level 5 to fight that. He was a couple creeps away, and Jankos was going to find Sheo, so they had to disengage. Slightly unlucky for BDS. Ebby's going to use that top push for a little bit of information. He's gone for the early healing reduction item.
Yeah.
Maybe trying to stop a lot of the regen, the health bots, the Q.
It's a lot of healing coming in from the Darius in the extended trades.
Yeah.
And Ziggs already has a lost chapter, so that lane is no longer interactive.
You know what else he has? A tier.
Wow.
He's going late game. Flacked's just, you know, it's one of those champs where you just recline your chair a couple more degrees. Yeah. You lay back and you say, guys, play topside. I'll clear the waves.
How dare you say that? All 40 of the Ziggs mains in the worlds right now are upset. They're like, you don't understand.
Now, if you're Ziggs,
I took an extra semester of math in high school to figure out exactly how this bomb is going to bounce so I can land these skill shots.
Just want to figure out like the weight of the bomb, the wind speed, you liquid thing.
Sorry, it's a water balloon. Yeah, you're right.
Water balloon, yeah. Make sure it doesn't get swayed in the wind.
West, 20 kilometers.
But if you're a mid lane Ziggs, maybe you do something. But I feel like bot lane Ziggs, you know, you guys go fight her.
I think right now Ziggs just deletes the wave. The lane doesn't happen. I'm hoping that once Crownie gets a static shift, we get a little bit more wave clear on both sides. Ebby, wave now crashing. Still Renekton level 6, it's still big, but Adam's just going to be able to ult flash out. Safety, he's ticking, he's burning, but it's first blood coming through. Nuke jumping in, Nuke jumping out. BDS finding first blood on the top side.
Nice dive. Adam almost goes down, but they managed to pull it off. No TP on Ebby either, so first blood over to Nuke. He'll lose a wave in mid without that TP. And Adam will be able to crash on top wave, so it's pretty even overall. Looks like Heretics will trade that for a dragon. Sheo gets top crab, Clayton's over to Adam. I think this Darius being ahead is so important for side lanes. You just talked about bot lane being a farm fest. That means the top side of the map is all that really matters in these early stages.
Yeah, and it's not just the kill going down in favor of Adam. It's all those plates, and it's all the CS that Evie lost. He's now 600 gold behind. You have the early tier 2 boots coming out for the Darius. This is devastating in the early game. The only good news for Team Heretics is they do get that plate in mid lane for Vetheo. They do get the Dragon, which offers them a bit of late game insurance. We also know it won't be a Chemtech Soul. This Chemtech is our second Drake. All good news for Team Heretics, but I don't know if that outweighs the massive advantage that Adam just got topside.
So Evie should walk up here into the wave and not let it hit the tower, basically, so that if anyone walks behind the tower, they'll tank it. The only problem is then he has to fight the Darius, but he didn't have the information to know a dive was coming. Tries his best to get as much damage onto Adam as possible to make it a 1-for-1, but Nuke comes in to make sure that dive is sealed. Adam with those tier 2 boots, like I said, just makes him so tanky. You know, when you play these bruisers, it's not really damage items in the first 10 levels. It's mostly like armor and health, and the base damage is what carries you through.
And what makes Darius so infuriating is that because his passive gives him so much raw AD, that even just having a bit of extra movement speed, being able to stay on top of someone, offers you so much in an extended trade. I can't stress enough how obnoxious this champion is to play against. If you don't play top lane, consider yourself blessed.
Yeah, you don't have to play up against the Darius one trick.
So annoying. Darius and Alawi, two of my least favorite champions.
4 or 5 years ago, that was Adam, the Darius one trick.
The one trick. And now,
so annoying.
You know,
here he is on the stage.
Credit to him, you know, continuing to stick to his roots of a lot of these signature picks, like the Olaf, like the Darius, but transitioning them to an incredibly successful spring split. An incredibly successful career thus far. 12K getting lower though. Heretics will bully their way into this area. Adam now in trouble, but yeah, just walks it off.
Neither don't have shoes. Not a Trundle nor the Renekton. Adam can just run away. Ooh, he's getting a bit cocky though. Needs to be careful. He wants that demolish proc, but he's got the shoes.
He does have the shoes.
Is every flash stun? Is it really worth to go
Pillar?
Send it?
Okay.
Nope.
Oh, let him know.
Who is he letting know though?
I don't know. Just a reminder of his time.
Well, that was 2020. Wasn't that the top esports year?
Oh yeah. Well, you know, the emo game isn't always easy to interpret.
It's deep though.
It's like poetry, you know? It's like an English class. You got to find what are the metaphors? What is the symbolism?
Yeah.
It's not for us to comment on. You know, we'll leave it to the poets, the artists.
He's got a meaning behind it. And he's got a lot of top push. 2 plates in his back pocket. Heavy's TP is coming up soon. But I think the most important thing is Heretics got both neutral objectives. Still down in gold is the problem because of his top side, but there's the static shift for Crownie, so he can clear waves faster in the Flakked clearing.
Yeah,
waves.
I was really hoping that would mean that they'd fight more, but now dash in. Ulti coming out, Adam a very squishy boy. Those boots aren't doing a whole hell of a lot. Quick kill on the top side. Patience in the setup from Team Heretics finally pays off, but Nuke now free to get aggressive in the mid lane, getting hooked. Not quite under tower, but big damage now coming in. Vetheo can look to follow up here. Ults in, finds the isolated target. Nuke flashing out to safety, gets into the brush for a brief moment, but it's not enough. Vetheo getting a kill back in response.
Getting a bit greedy there, Nuke jumping forwards into the hook of Mersa. Labrov probably didn't have the W up because it took him a while to get in front to start blocking those auto attacks from Vetheo. With that passive, you can jump forwards and then match flash with flash. Props to Jankos as well. He spent a lot of time up there on the top side, didn't he? Waiting for one moment to gank after he found the Herald. About a minute time wasted, but he managed to get that kill. So I guess Labrov doesn't have W here because he just kind of walks up slowly to Nuke and doesn't get in range for the shield or the Q. By the time he does, the passive's fully procced, and as much as he lands that Q, there's not enough auto attacks to proc the passive for Braum. Vetheo gets the kill.
Yeah. Ultimately, bit of an awkward exchange there. Respect the confidence coming out from Nuke and Labrov, but the execution didn't quite match up. 2-1 the kill score overall. Team Heretics, though, finally able to build a gold lead for themselves. You know, got the objectives as you highlighted, got that kill on the top side, and ultimately kind of donated a kill in the mid lane.
Definitely did. So now that really helps Vetheo out with that static shift first against Nuke. Means static versus static. Vetheo got it first. He can start pushing into Tristana or pushing back at least.
Yep.
Adam trading aggressive on the heavy, which I think in the 1v1 he still wins. It's just that Trundle swayed it a little bit and made it a slightly more even. But
bounce it out.
Good in XP. Adam will level up to level 9. Dragon in 50 seconds.
Would be really good for BDS to get this Dragon, at least stop any potential stacking option that Team Heretics do have. And in a weird twist of fate, Jankos now coming in here.
Walking up.
Braum marked up here. Do they want to keep this one going? They definitely went out in the 2v2. The 3v3, maybe not quite as decided.
Leander's picked up now for Flakked. Herald mid just to get some gold over to Vetheo. TV back bot from Flakked to push out the waves. With seconds on the
2
Dragon.
plates worth of
Do they
gold
get it?
here. Gets the
They
gold.
kill it, they kill it.
Kill it. Oh my. Oh. Yeah, thumbs up, Vetheo, because that's a lot of money just deleted right there.
They would have loved that Herald to crash their Heretics, because then the second Herald would have secured mid tower for sure.
That's frustrating.
So this is the problem for BDS right now. Dragon spawning would be second Dragon for Heretics, and Ebby's going to push in this top wave on the minimap, run back and base.
With TP.
With TP, exactly. So it's a 5v4 if they want to fight this. Adam really needs to push out quick and ghost down the river, but there's no chance he'll be here in time. If Heretics just force it, BDS are going to be forced to run back. And I think it should be an easy pickup.
Yeah, a lot of potential control in this area. Also, the long-range ability of the Kaisa ult to get into these fights makes things a lot easier as well.
Evie needs to TP top, you know, this really sucks. Yeah, he's in a TP top. You can't really afford to give Darius this much uptime. So now, actually, because of how long it's been taking for Heretics to start this, Adam can now run down. So actually, it's BDS who will be with the numbers advantage onto this Dragon. And Jankos now realizing that he's got the crab, but he can't own this river anymore.
Yeah, the split call. He finishes the crab. Looks like he wants to start the Dragon, but is forced to back away because ultimately, despite not having the TP, Adam able to push that lane in sooner, and the timing from Team Heretics just a bit sloppy there. Feels like they had the tools necessary to take it, just had to be a bit more aggressive on pulling the trigger, but with no bot push, I guess they didn't feel comfortable going for it, and that means
I'm surprised.
A Drake for BDS.
I thought they should have picked that one up pretty easily, their Heretics, but they missed their window. BDS find theirs with that top push out. Adam's going to come back up and stop Evie from taking those plates. So overall, it's a pretty even game. Drake's a piece. Yeah, it's a fire and a gold lead to Heretics, but it doesn't really matter. It's mostly in mid, but actually nuke went for the Kraken Slayer. So didn't go for that dematerialize.
I mean, you've got enough wave clear just from the explosive shot on Tristana to shred those waves. I guess looking for a little bit more damage against the very beefy front line that is Team Heretics.
Yeah.
Adam, will we see them successful again on the gank here? Ghost has flash for now, just ghosting. Assuming he has flash of safety now. I don't know if it's going to be enough though. The pullback under tower trying to queue up with the Q. Gets a decent amount of healing coming through, and he's going to walk away.
That's a scary Darius. And the amount of times I've seen Adam turn scenarios that he's losing, I could definitely not count on my hands. So I think Heretics were a bit hesitant, thinking, well, we could try and tower dive him and tank a few shots, but the fact that he stacks up his passive and gets an ult, both of us are probably going to die. Don't take the risk, just take the flash, take the ghost. We didn't have to extend any summoners ourselves there, Heretics. Just 2 ultimates, and with Herald spawning in 15, not having those ultimates is really going to sting. Flakked, no TP, is just pushed out bot, likely going to recall and join his team in mid, or he's just going to run straight there. Crownie's come up towards his top side.
These mismatched lanes might be a bit of a catalyst for action here. Thus far in the game, it's been extremely quiet outside of top lane, just because both sides seem pretty content to wave clear outside of that single aggressive play in the mid lane from Nuke.
Adam's bot and he's showing, so they might be trading first tower here for Herald, but Vetheo has TP, so I'd love it if he just makes sure this Herald secure a TP bot, and then they can have Flakked go mid, Heavy go back top, and 3 lanes should be covered, but is he going to TP down is the question. Maybe he's scared of just getting dove straight up by the Darius because he's not committing.
Yep, tower getting lower and lower. It seems like they're happy to handshake on that one. And this has not been about player versus player. It's about deleting the waves, pushing out, and playing the map game, which, you know, credit to both teams, I understand, in a meta with static ship being this popular. Makes sense, but isn't the most explosive game of League of Legends we've cast this week.
Don't like having 3 kills in 16 minutes.
Is Static Shiv ruining League of Legends? Question mark. That's the BuzzFeed title that I have for you.
Too much wave.
Capitalizing all the first letters. Yeah.
We need 5 more Gale Force items in the game. Any item that dashes you forwards and does damage.
Yep.
But you can only go forwards. Gale Force can't go backwards.
More Renekton standing in brushes. Surprise! Here comes Evie. An initial condemn coming out. Crownie now invisible for a brief moment. Adam coming over the wall, but Crownie just gonna get deleted. No, Gale Force out. No, Flakked says not today. The satchel charge bombs him back into the waiting arms of Vetheo. Gets the kill for himself.
That pesky little Ziggs. TP's behind Crownie. I think he flashed away thinking that he was safe, but he just gets knocked back into the team. And even though Crownie flashed away and Flakked wouldn't have been there, I feel like Vetheo would have used a killer instinct and just killed him anyway.
Yeah. That was 2 TPs for that kill. We'll see what it costs him in the long run. Getting Crownie's flash as well, though, is big for the fights to come, but Crownie does still have TP, so there's no greater objective to be had here.
So, Evie was playing the real patient game. I thought he messed up a second here because he ults, but then he doesn't W when he gets Fury here. He gets knocked back, finally gets some range aside to flash, but it was just a Fury regen. Vetheo here, he could just killer instinct onto the Vayne anyway. Maybe Adam could trade back, but he has the flash to try and outplay against the no-sums. Adam, look at Vetheo CS, 191 off this top wave, maybe 198. Depending on what wave it is, no, 197. 17 minutes, 30 CS up. That static shift is going to help him so much in keeping
Would
CS.
it surprise anyone if we said that his favorite player was Chovy? Would that?
He's Chovy.
He's
but we're in
Chovy.
Europe, so he's vetoing.
He's vetoing.
Yeah.
That's true. CS enthusiast.
He is. Crownie's also doing well in the CS. Wow, the static shift users are the highest CS.
Whoa. Stunned. Adam once again has to run away from the duo. The Bash Bros here on the bottom side. He's just desperately trying to walk. He does not have any resources left.
It's like Flakked joined the fight with an emote.
Fighting the mid lane though. A lot of damage going down on the Mersa. Mersa just going to get immediately popped. TP on the back of this one. Evie now coming in, but there's not really a lot to be had here. Crownie's going to shred through him. Jankos now coming down as well. The Renekton, how much damage can he get done? The healing not coming out. Evie in the wrong place at the wrong time. That TP was terrible, and now Nuke looking to keep the fight going. Concussive blows going down. Jankos stopping the play in its track, but Nuke just continuing to poke. Flakked now on the retreat. Big mess of an exchange.
Evie always has his Evie moments, doesn't he, where he TPs in or he flanks or he goes in and dies instantly. And he tried to salvage the fight, but he kind of goes in 1v4 against Sejuani Braum with barely any tenacity, so he is not moving. Jankos, does he see Labrov, sorry? That's like he ate a burger with one bite. He just chopped it all down.
Parents, avert your children's eyes. That troll just killed Santa Claus. The Herald now charges in. It's what happened. It's canonical, man. I don't make the League of Legends lore. We just witnessed it.
Child screen just shut in the blink.
He comes back though. He respawns.
Yeah, it's like a Yordle. You can never get rid of him.
True. Okay, well, Team Heretics. If we zoom out far enough that we look at that play in the context of 3 minutes of gameplay, it doesn't feel too bad. They got a pick on Adam. They got a Drake. They kind of griefed it in this fight, but hey.
Mersa gets engaged on Sejuani Braum, so much CC, Nuke jumped over the wall. Yeah, Mersa chains CC, there's no point going anywhere or flashing or anything happening. TP from Evie comes from behind, and Crownie TP'd in as well, so it's a 4v1 against Sejuani Braum, double AD carry, so he's just instantly dead. Vetheo tries his best by dashing over the wall to get Labrov, but the shield does too much. Nuke flashes over to hit to proc the passive, but there's no follow-up from his team on the right side. Has to flash away himself.
Meanwhile, the picture-in-picture on the back of that play. That one just
I think the observers want to show the troll killing Santa.
Oh yes, they do. Oh, they've got a highlight. I feel it.
He's in his sleigh.
Why isn't Santa wearing a shirt, Mommy? Why does Santa not have his clothes on? Nobody knows. League of Legends. Bam! Dreams crushed. He comes back, kids. Don't worry. Hopefully more dressed more appropriately. Santa's cut, but nobody needs to see that. Anyway, League of Legends still happening. Team Heretics got the dragon. Towers were taken during that replay. Both top tier 1 BDS managed to pick up, and Team Heretics picking up bot tier 1 as well.
I just realized he has a chippy on his shield.
What is going on, man?
See that? That's crazy. Good roll. It's deep.
I think they just like lay out a board of vaguely Christmas-themed words. I don't know where Six-Pack came from on the Christmas-themed words, but hey, it got in there. Is now Adam getting collapsed on here. That is a combo, but Kaisa with the Ziggs bomb.
Is that a Baron?
It might just be. Kaisa can tread through it.
Push top, BDS push.
Flakked just deletes the wave. I think he has to be careful about walking up here.
Yeah, can't really walk up.
Yeah, he's
at the tower.
Yeah, he's a mile back. So
I force Vayne with static shield. Now he doesn't have cleanse, so one Renekton W is gonna sting. But if he has uptime with that red buff, he is gonna shred.
Someone else has to follow up on the Renekton stuff because there is still a Sejuani and a Braum standing in front of that Vayne.
There's also a lot of poke too.
Crownie in the wrong spot. Now the knockback coming through. Beautiful ult from Sheo to stop Jankos from falling up. Labrov going right back over the wall. So many resources burned. Crownie holds on to Flash, and yeah, Nuke just pushing in the meantime.
Yeah, but match.
So is Vetheo.
Yeah, tower as a piece just traded off, isn't it? So Nuke 3-1-0 on this Tristana. 2 items strong into the base. Will pick up another component for his next legendary item, but 800 gold lead still for Vetheo is getting close to that Queen So's. 250. Oh, he's got it already. 3-item Kaiser at 21 minutes.
So 251 CS. Can we get? I'm sure the record is ridiculous, but can we get a CS record check? I forget. I know it's someone. It's like 300.
Does still have the record?
No, it's not, I don't think it's Froggen anymore. I think it was something really dumb. But 256 at 21 minutes. I only am concerned right now about the LEC record, but.
Yeah, he's definitely doing well. I think I've seen higher, but yeah, definitely that's 262 in 21 minutes. Nuts,
that's big. And we talked at this point with 3 items, Kaisa does so much damage. This is triple evolve. No, double evolve? Double evolve.
He should have
triple evolve. Yeah, you're right, triple evolve. Excuse me.
Too
many item changes over the years.
Yep, but he does a heck of a lot of damage. And also the beauty of the Rage Blade is it gives hybrid pen from every legendary item you have. So this provides more and more and more. So when he gets those Salt Shoes as well, look at that. With the Nashrus in the static and the only attack speed to shred through towers.
I mean, you basically got old Vayne made 2014, 2015, and new Vayne, Kai'Sa, made what, 2019, 2018?
2018.
You know? Vayne W, true damage. Kai'Sa, passive, magic damage. All percentage, max health. Very fun for tanks. They love these champions.
I think the thing is with her W is like when it's AP upgraded, if you hit a champion, it goes down to 2-3 seconds cooldown. So you can just keep.
You can spam, but you have to hit it to keep that chain going.
But I feel like on mid-wave contests, when there's 5 champions standing in a line, most of the time you can land, especially when they're walking into objectives.
Also, like Labrov's job is kind of to eat skill shots for Crownie and nuke. So seems very likely. Overall, pretty quiet thus far in the game, and again, mostly it has been a game about PvE. Some outbreaks of action, 9 kills thus far. Not the quietest game, but definitely not the bloodiest either, as both sides seem content to just push side lanes. Neither one wants to pull the trigger on this Baron. It's 23 minutes in, 48 seconds till Infernal. It'll be sole point for Team Heretics if they can secure it.
With these champions, basically what's going to happen is everyone wants to farm. We're going to hit a break point at a Baron or on a soul point, and that one fight will determine the whole game. Sometimes you just have so many scaling champs with these carries, Tristana, Vayne, Kai'Sa, Ziggs, with so much wave clear that you can't really do anything, but then one fight just decides everything. So you've got one shot to make it happen in the fights, one shot and an outplay. I feel like Renekton
one opportunity.
To seize
everything you ever
wanted.
wanted.
A song about that.
It probably could.
But the Renekton flash W on the Vayne is everything. If Crownie gets stunned up, he is not moving. Nautilus ult, hook, root, pillar, Kai'Sa poke, Ziggs poke, he's as good as dead. And he doesn't have much lifesteal.
While I really like having the Sejuani Braum as a combo, while I think this makes it so difficult for Team Heretics to navigate these fights, Jankos with his ultimate against Sejuani, especially already having a frozen heart at this stage of the game, is going to be so frustrating for BDS to deal with. Significant amount of damage reduction coming through by just reducing enemy attack speed from that item.
He's miles away. He had to catch midway. Can he steal it here, Sheo? They're not really threatening him. He's just kind of standing there watching them do it.
The wall, Envy looks like they want to start the fight off. That's ulti down. Not sure if that was an intentional to go into the Renekton, but now the fight's now breaking out. The Ziggs ultimate's big damage to the backside. Vetheo untouched. They're just shredding BDS. They make it look easy. Vetheo an absolute mad land to the backside. Look at that Kai'Sa damage coming through. But Crownie versus the world. He's trying to make it happen. He just doesn't have the space to work. A shutdown, a triple for Vetheo. This man is a god on Kai'Sa.
Only one of them die, and it's Mersa. Vetheo manages to stay alive. It was Crownie trying to take him down, but he didn't have that much damage going through Vetheo. He had about 4 or 5 auto attacks, but no damage was really dealt. I mean, Heretics win out on the CC, they win out on the range, they win out on the damage, the poke, everything just goes in their favor. Crownie slightly late, didn't really matter. I feel like the AD carry uptime just isn't there for BDS.
I mean, you've got the sustained damage of an AD carry coming in from this Kai'Sa, as well as a ton of burst on top of all the Ziggs bursts. We take a look back at this. Look how much damage BDS actually do before most of them are dead. It's very little.
Trundle ults a big Ziggs bomb onto 4. Now watch Vetheo on the side. Knock up as well, buys time, jump back from nuke, and now here's where Vetheo will go in. Look at Crownie. 1, 2, 3,
W,
4, 5. He's still 40% HP excluding that Tristana E. Gets another one in there, 6, but yeah, doesn't die. Not enough damage coming out of that Vayne. Maybe if he had one more item.
And I mean, shout out to Evie. He was obviously the center of attention there in the early game. Jankos did back him up, but 3K as he's able to find his way into 4 or 5 members there with that Cole the Meek in the midst of the fight. And I think the struggle in these fights is if BDS ever give Team Heretics the room to set up and pull off another combo like that, where you're getting so much CC down, layered on top of the Ziggs, giving Vetheo the space to work. Like, Crownie and Nuke need time to kill people. They need a pretty decent amount of time, whereas you can see Vetheo has a ton of burst damage coming in from those plasma procs. Flakked can just throw out bombs willy-nilly.
I think these AP carries are just doing so much more than these AD carries. Basically, that's what it is.
Yeah.
The 2 AP carries versus 2 ADs. And there's not much BDS can do. A lot of shred on HP percentage with Kai'Sa, with the Rage Blade, with the Leandries, excuse me. So now they're sieging on bots with even more poke. Ziggs Qs, Kai'Sa Ws, everything's just flying at them, and BDS lack that full trigger engage if it's not Sejuani.
And now they're trying to pull the trigger. That's not going to be
Darius hook.
Darius hook and Crownie's ultimate, crucially.
Yeah, that's going to sting, especially when they have a mid-wave. So what's going to happen here is Heretics will get bot inhib, and they'll run mid. Sheo has the ultimate. That's what he's threatening here, but something to threat. It's kind of an empty threat. There's no Vayne ult. Just going to have to give.
Yeah. But for Heretics, promising start in the game thus far, navigating some of those more difficult situations in the early lane pretty well, and the creativity using the Ziggs Kai'Sa as a double flex.
So quick news about the record. The record of CS in 25 minutes is roughly 360 because of the funnel meta, you remember?
Oh, the funnel meta.
So we're never going to break that.
But he's at 312 at 27.
Yeah, we're never going to break the funnel meta.
shout out, he's just Veteoing it right now.
Yeah.
He can have that one until someone else is CSing better.
So that's 2 inhibs. Now they'll base. They'll go top. Yeah, it'd be easy, does it? 2 minutes on the Dragon, though. That'll be their Infernal Soul. Maybe they want to play for that. And as much as BDS have 3 items on these carries, I don't think they have the damage to get through, because by the time they get those 3 or 4 auto attacks off, their front line is as good as gone.
I mean, it's just... It's such a difficult game to play out, because Vayne is so short range, and you don't, in a 1v1, I think, out-damage the Kai'Sa at this stage in the build. I mean, you need Trinity Force procs, you got Wit's End, you're not... You hit hard over time, but your immediate burst is pretty limited.
Yeah, they double TP'd in here. Veteo's quite far away. They are pushing with this Baron. 10 seconds left on it. It's just this wave. I think it's off 5. Can they get anything off it? A couple of auto attacks on the tower.
3 cannon creeps, maybe.
Would love to walk up, but he can't.
Gonna get a TP out, though. That's pretty big. Tristana now coming in. They want to kick the fight off. The Ziggs bomb right away. Adam already blinking health bar. Evie needs to be careful here, playing on the edges. Jankos goes golden. The knock-up, big damage onto Crownie. Now they can just walk in.
Yeah, that's triple inhib. That's nail in the coffin. That's game.
98 HP. You know, Vetheo had to stop himself. He wanted to go in so bad. Just burn that Acathian Rain, take Crownie out of the equation, but knows that he's more valuable at this stage. Damage on the nuke is huge as well.
BDS can't find a way in.
CC, it's a 2-second cooldown. Here comes another Kai'Sa W. Boop.
Waiting for the wave.
If you don't dodge it, it's going to keep coming. Oh, this is infuriating for BDS, but Team Heretics, slow, steady, controlled.
There's so many skill shots, man. They're playing dodgeball. No balls.
The knockback coming through. Nuke on the backside. Maybe the AD carries get something done, but Vetheo just does too much damage.
This Kai'Sa is so obnoxious, isn't it? The flex potential.
Boop.
Just playing whack-a-mole.
All right, that one missed. That's now it's like a 7-8 second cooldown.
I love how we're just focusing on Vetheo W's.
It does a lot.
Is he gonna shoot another, or is he gonna base in TP?
Oh, he wants to shoot another. If he hits it.
He's gonna one-shot the wave first, and now he's gonna shoot.
Team Heretics, this should be a victory lap. BDS, can they make the hold happen? The wave still coming through. Evie now ulting. Crownie and Nuke looking for an angle. Crownie immediately gonna ult. Vetheo just goes invisible. Big damage now following up. Crownie trying to be the hero. Vetheo says not today. Forcing him back to the fountain. Goes golden to keep that KDA alive. But Team Heretics taking game 1, and he still goes down.
He just sniped him at the end, and he went godlike. Oh, that Kai'Sa is a massive problem. And I'm sure Flakked can play it. I mean, we saw Flacked's Kai'Sa at MSI last year with U2, didn't we? So he's more than happy to do so. So that's definitely a ban in the BDS books, I think, going forward. Veteo's doing so much work on it, even with the Tristana, which is such a powerful pick as well. Didn't manage to find too much, and it just felt like such a slow game. A lot of wave clear from both sides. Top side went in favor of BDS to begin with Adam, but then they recuperated the gold deficit with a couple of good ganks on the top side by Jankos, and then neutral objective just kept going in their favor. Jankos just securing those, and the range and the damage that they had, it was just way too much for the front line of BDS.
And ultimately, I think the more creative options from Team Heretics just looked much better. The Ziggs looked much better. The Vayne was, in that context, a bit underwhelming. I think we could see more from the pick. We certainly have seen more from the pick internationally, but in that game, it just seemed impossible against that Ziggs to get any space in a team fight. That's sad enough from us here at the Cash Desk. Let's see what the Analyst Desk has to say about that Team Heretics victory.
Thank you very much, Drakos. Really interesting game, honestly, on the side of Heretics mostly, but a lot of creativity on both sides. The casters was wondering if it was the time to go Vayne here. So what do you guys think? Was it a good Vayne angle?
I feel like it's almost never a good Vayne angle. Every time I think back to my times of picking Vayne as of late, it's never been a good time. In the moment, it feels right. But afterwards, it's not right. And I really don't think this was a good case for Vayne.
I think it was kind of like to call it that they maybe, I don't know if they maybe thought the Kai'Sa was going down bot lane. It's an old school counter, but we have also seen the Vayne in the LPL where you play like Wit's End. And Wit's End is a super efficient buy when you're playing into double AP carries. The problem was you just never really got there. But I'll be honest, when I saw it in the beginning, I really thought to myself, you blinded Nord. You didn't flex a jungle. You're playing into Braum. It's looking good for the bot lane. The front line should be good in a team fight. You can blow them up immediately. They don't have super tanks. And even if they do, you have the true damage, Darius ultimate to lock them down. But I keep forgetting that static shift is an item. I keep forgetting that you don't get the prior to go for these plays immediately. And it's just so difficult to be first on the ball when this exists.
It made it difficult, honestly, as you said, for Team BDS to know exactly which champion was going where, because against lots of flex picks. I'm not surprised to see Heretics opening with the Kai'Sa here. We know that it can be flexed. The Nautilus hasn't been played so much in the jungle, but we know that it's an option. I was surprised about the Ziggs, though.
Yeah, me too. And I thought for a second maybe there were going to be too much AP because normally the Kai'Sa goes for AP and then Ziggs on top of that as well feels like a lot of AP. But Vetheo sort of just ran away with the game. And I think in that sense, the Ziggs pick made a lot of sense because it allowed Vetheo to be the vocal point of his team and he could have the resources of jungle and support and Flakked could play on his own. So I really actually like the Ziggs pick in hindsight. And I'm surprised I didn't find a better answer to it than Vayne because in my mind, the second you see Ziggs, it's always going bot. And Vayne as an answer to me just doesn't really feel like something that's going to punish the Ziggs. It's just more, if anything, allows Vetheo then to play his game.
Good preparation overall on the side of Team Heretics. Not so much good execution on the side of Team BDS though, and Guldborg. This is something we've talked about during Reddit check. And here again, it's the execution missing.
Yeah, I mean, they got that one good gank in the beginning where they get a flash off Epi, right? And then they can come back and have the tower dive for themselves. But then it's like they kind of forget to come back or they kind of stop being the one making the play. And it was really just on Heretics to find kills on Adam again and again. And it's kind of just out of nowhere. They're a bit seemingly random, you know, they're just coming from lane, pillar drops down, Adam's overextended, ready to die. And it just keeps happening and again where he's like just spotted in side lane and Team Heretic just collapse on him. There's no more rocket science to it. It's literally just gank Adam, he will die.
I feel like Jankos did a really good job of punishing Adam this game, and when he started dying, it sort of took the air out of the game in a way. It felt like when Adam had his lead in the early game, you could kind of see it all coming together for BDS. But the second he started dying on these silence, as you can see here, then there was nothing more to the game. Vetheo ran away with it. He had a 260 CS score at 21 minutes this game, and
that's crazy.
Almost 2 tier 2s at that point already. So it really just felt like he had the gold lead, and he's more than good enough to use that.
Yeah, I talked to him a bit before the game. He's always happy when he gets to play Kai'Sa, of course. The champion is really strong right now. I just want to talk a bit about Jankos. We didn't have quite enough time to talk about him in Reddit check. Super stable so far for BDS Heretics in summer. And I think it shows how much he can lead the team in terms of communication and staying stable in the game.
I mean, I just think it's so impressive by Jankos because there's always people who would make the argument back in the past, well, oh, he was on G2. Look at the laners he had around him. Of course, he was going to be a good jungler. But then you take a look at him in winter, in spring, and despite the fact that Team Heretics doesn't produce good results, Jankos is still producing good results, and he's still continuing to do so as well now. He is definitely a vocal point for this team when they're making plays. He's showing it again and again, and this game was no different.
And for me, it translates into Vetheo's redemption arc, as we like to call it, because as you said, Martin, disastrous journey within XL, coming back now really strong within Team Heretics, and it feels to me that we see the video that we met when he was playing at Misfits, but a better version also, looking also good in losses, but super dominant when he wins.
Yeah, it feels like the entire team is on board with him being the carry. Even just looking at the draft, normally teams don't build that kind of draft, but Heretics is coming together as 5 to have him be the carry, and that's with his first split in the team. It's really amazing to witness, and I'm honestly so happy for Vetheo because it felt like he had a really rough time in XL, and sometimes from that players don't come back, and that's sort of the end of it, but he is now back on top of things and maybe one of the best mids we have in the league.
Yeah, and I think like it shows in a team fight just like this where he sees his moment so well. I mean, I would have loved to probably have illustrated it in hindsight now, but the fact that he looks for plays where it's like, okay, they're getting isolated by the wall that kind of separates into the blast cone and into the river, and finding the right places to really find the Kai'Sa ultimate to go in exactly where you need to be. It's super beautiful, waiting for the Braum as well, knowing exactly when to hit the mark.
Now, looking forward, you want to come back when you're Team BDS, of course. They chose blue side to go in this second game, but what kinds of adaptations do you want to see on their side? Draft foremost, and then maybe going into the early game.
I would like to see just more resources around top lane. I feel like if you are in a situation where bot lane is a dead lane, maybe even mid lane to an extent, you just need to put more resources top lane. In this case, Adam actually had a good early game and had the opportunity to run away with the game, and they sort of just stopped caring for him. He was getting attacked by Jankos on almost every wave, and then Vetheo was up there, and then Mersa was up there, and it just felt like they sort of forgot to take care of him. And I think if you're playing these kind of champions in the top lane, then you have to care for him. He has to be your guy to carry the game.
Yeah, I think you really have to get used to this kind of dead state, that kind of, what do you say?
Comes from the static shit.
Yeah, exactly. Just and not just that, but also when you play against a Ziggs, like if you suddenly can't play for Crownie and say let's attack bot lane, because you cannot attack bot lane against Ziggs. He will just ult the wave, he will clear it. You cannot play for bot, no matter what. You said you were scaling with their AD carry. You need to really adapt to the fact that we need to find a fight elsewhere on the map, and it's the same issue that we saw in Rekkles season. It's the fact that they're not the one calling the shots first. They're the one making a reactive play. You even saw it with some of the TP plays. That was actually Team Heretics as well that was finding the TP plays that made it so more easy for them as well to accelerate the game.
I have one small question for you guys, because we saw Adam playing his Darius, his Olaf in every possible meta for the past 2 years. Is it outdated? Is it a fitting champion with the champions that you want to play top lane right now?
It's definitely harder to play for because it's so much harder to be a side laner, especially in a meta like this. I think it could have been played for in this game, specifically against the champions, if it had gotten more resources. I still think it would have come down to execution. It would have been hard. But I could have seen the moment where it could have been there. It could have made sense. I could have seen the Adam moment.
We'll see if he sticks to it in the second game we will have. But that's all for us here on this side of the studio. We'll be right back in just a couple minutes to see if BDS can come back in this best-of-3 series. We'll see you soon.
Still Renekton level 6, it's still big, but Adam's just going to be able to ult flash out. Same he's ticking, he's burning, but it's first blood coming through. Yeah, I was really hoping that would mean that they'd fight more, but now dash in. Ulti coming out, Adam a very squishy boy. Those boots aren't doing a whole hell of a lot. All but Crownie just going to get deleted. No, Guldborg, no, Flakked says not today!
Look front line. Sage no rush, Sage no rush. Not bad. Kite to it. Brace over, brace over. Play with Kai'Sa. Nice. I can go. I'm doing Drake, okay? Drake is down. Kai'Sa is smurfing. Kill her and go Nash. I mean, surely we can kill her, okay? Nice.